Thank you. Hello, everybody. And thank you for giving us the opportunity today to present to you our project. My name is Stephane Doutriaux, and I'm the founder of Poken. See a couple of names here up on the slide because they're here in attendance. Gabriel Klein, our chief software architect, and Brian Hassan, our product manager, sitting right here. You might have heard of Poken because we are Swiss. We're based in Lausanne. About 10 people now working for the company. And what I decided to do with the talk today is instead of pitching a company, a product, and so on, turn it more into an interesting philosophical discussion, and titled it Object-Based Networking as an Extension of Web 2.0. So hopefully that'll get some thoughts going in your minds and lots of questions at the end so we can all share and enjoy. So what is Poken? Poken is your social keychain. I have a Poken on my keychain here today, as do many people in this room. It's a small device that we designed, created, and we manufactured in China, but all the design, the engineering takes place here in Switzerland. Looks like this. It sits on a keychain, little USB stick with a cool-looking body. There's many different designs. I have a gorilla here, and here is a bee. And how does it work? Well, as we asked early on in the talk, so a lot of people are on social networks. We didn't ask specifically how many, but statistically what you'll find is that most people are on several networks, whether it is traditional social networks like Facebook, MySpace, Hi5, so on, or other communication tools that are becoming more networks like MSN, Skype, Google Talk, even YouTube, which now has the networking feature built in. So what Poken does is enables you to connect you directly to someone on all of the networks that they're a part of, simply by touching them in the real world. So the way it works is I have this on my keychain, and I'll just high for another Poken like this. Two hands come together, they glow, and we're virtually connected now. The way we've decided to build it is as a sort of virtual business card, because we're bringing the concept of the business card into the virtual world. Today, you're all still using paper business card. What does the paper business card contain? It contains your name, your email address, your phone number, a few different ways of getting in touch with you. But you have many other ways, actually, today that people can get in touch with you, as we mentioned, through all of these different networks. So what we do through our portal is enable you to create a little business card with your traditional information and little icons that appear here for all of the other networks that you're a part of. And once you've Poken someone, you get access to their little Poken card in your account, and you can click on any of those icons and go directly to their page. I'll go into more technical details, where we also have an API that we're building and offering to the social networks so that they can actually build Poken functionality directly into their websites. So that's another exciting angle. And the goal really is to be a tool that links all of the different ways that somebody can get in touch with you. Now, when you log into our website, either through your Poken by simply inserting it into your computer and letting the auto launch feature launch the website, or whether you log in by going to dopoken.com, we'll let you create a few identities. You can create one or several. And with the device, you can actually choose which identity you want to share with someone by just clicking a little button on it. So here we have Brian posing here for his social identity, the more sort of fun party one. And he created also a business identity there that contains more of his business networks. It might contain his LinkedIn, his Xing, other means of contact that he would share with a different type of audience. When you have Pokened a number of people, connect your Poken to the computer, as I said, automatically uploads all of your new contacts, and this is how it appears. We have a screen where we'll show your new friends, their little cards, the date and time at which you Pokened them. So we really bring in the reference of the real-world event that happened. And we found in our in user tests and so on, I'll cover this a little bit more as well in the next slide, that having a reference to a real-world event is really a very intriguing and new element that we're bringing into websites, because people tend to remember something in the real world. You'll remember, for example, that 2 weeks ago you were with your friend Bob and you met somebody, but you might not remember their name. So perhaps you connected to them on Facebook or on another network. If you have 500 friends or more, you'll have trouble finding them in your Facebook friends because you don't remember their name. With Poken, what you'll do is simply scroll back in time and say, well, I remember it was around 2 weeks ago. Scroll back, find the event, say, hey, there's Bob. I know it was with Bob, and there's Jim or whoever this other person might have been that you've met. So we're bringing that time element into the mix for social networking. Now, what we've really focused on in our project and in this product, and really the mantra of our company is keeping it simple. Is saying objects and everyday objects that you use must remain simple. Must be something that you really don't need to think of how to use it. You shouldn't need to turn it on. You shouldn't need to configure it. You shouldn't need to do any kind of parameterization. You should be able to swing it out of your pocket and just put it back in your pocket. So in this case, we developed a device that uses USB because USB is ubiquitous, any computer. It works on any operating system because there's no software necessary and no drivers. What we do is we simulate a FAT file system, that any computer will detect, and we just have a virtual file on there that contains the data that you've collected through Pokening. That's uploaded to the website and sorted and put into, structured so that the information can be displayed on the web. The technology that we use for Pokening, a lot of people ask us, is this RFID, is it Bluetooth? Because these are terms that they'll have heard, but they don't necessarily know a lot about. And so I can tell you today here that no, we don't use RFID, we don't use Bluetooth, we don't use Wi-Fi. We actually have to develop our own wireless technology to answer this particular need. There's no technology out there that's available that was answering what we'd identified as the need for two small, portable, compact devices, very low power that you wouldn't want to recharge, you wouldn't want to worry about parameterizing or whatnot, that would communicate at a close distance when you bring them together. For us, what was really important was the human aspect of the interaction. When you're meeting someone, you don't want to have to stare down at your mobile phone and enter his phone number. You shake their hand, you look them in the eye. And we wanted to keep that. So when you're Pokening someone, you can look them in the eye. And actually, your Pokens look each other in the eye as well. And you just high four. So while RFID is a technology that some of you know from swipe cards and so on, it works as an active-passive technology. So you have an active reader that's built into a door, that's built into a bus. You can carry around a passive card, but you can't swipe a card at a card. Right? In the case of other technologies, you'd have to parameterize them. You'd have to have bigger batteries. You'd have to have all kinds of different constraints that wouldn't offer you this simplicity of use that we were looking for. The information that we collect, so when we're high-fiving, we don't exchange any personal information. All we exchange is an identifier, a code. Each Poken has a unique ID. And we exchange that and a timestamp. And it's all encrypted with a private 128-bit encryption key. Again, unique in each device. So we have a very secure aspect of the interaction between the devices and a unique event that's created by one unique identifier meeting another unique identifier at a specific time. The reason that I wanted to focus really on the simplicity is that from the sort of philosophical perspective of the product of Poken, what we looked at is we looked at trying to model the simplicity of the web, simplicity of some actions that you do on the web, like clicking, and model those and bring them into the real world. And for us, the simplicity on the web is you see a button, you click it, it changes state. You expect these things. It's very simple. You don't have to think about what's going to happen, what you're doing, so on. And it logs an action. On the web, it logs the action because it knows what IP address that click has come from, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole number of technologies that ensure that when that information arrives to the server, it knows that that click happened within that browser at a certain time. So we take that into the real world. And on the Poken, you have a button here that you can click, just as you would click on the web. You'll have feedback because it might change color, so we have different modes. And we log the action, whether you click the button or whether you are high-fiving, or high-foring in this case. And that's really what the parallel I wanted to draw with the simplicity of use on the web and this type of device. Now, what we're focusing on is bringing a new service to the web and to the web community through objects. And we're taking actions from the real world that we capture in these objects, and we bring them into the web and offer them for use on the web through a standard web interface, through an API. So somebody using our API would not have to worry about all of the hardware stuff that's going on, about the fact that Pokens are interacting at a certain time in a certain place, or anything like that. What we do is we expose this data through an API, just as if it was data that was coming from software. So for the web, it's quite interesting for web developers. They can use the actions from the Poken and build it into any kind of web system, but not having to worry about everything that goes on behind. And I have a little bit more technical detail about why that's something that is of interest and that we do, and that's quite complex, and you wouldn't want to have to worry about in every single case of wanting to integrate an object into a website. This is the architecture that we use, and the way I've modeled it here is representing sort of a standard web architecture, the web layer, API, connecting to other, for offering information to external parties, open social container where information can come into our system, some core services, user account, social network connectors, authorization, so on, sitting on top of a database. But what I've added here is this branch here, which is the objects, and this is what we treat internally, but that doesn't show to the outside world, where the interaction between the objects, we capture the information. We can time shift it so we know that this interaction has happened, and if it was in software, you know that you know immediately that it has happened, right? Because it's connected through the web, so you know that it happened at a certain IP address at a certain time, and so on. The information comes to you directly. In the case of objects, the information is captured within a device, and then it's transferred to the architecture at a point in the future. It's transferred to when the person connects their object. So here, what I'm modeling here is that the information goes through a time shift because we have to figure out what time it actually really happened in the past. And then decryption, this is because when you're in a wired web, there are a lot of secure technologies that connect you and the user, and you know where the event happened, and now we have reliable systems that make sure that we know for sure that an event happened at a certain time in a certain place. In our case, that's what we offer you, is that we have the encryption, we have the security, the secure exchange between the devices, and then we know when that happened by decrypting that information and putting it into the database, so that it's then exposed through the web, through the API. In terms of the technologies that we use to build our systems, we're very much open source. You see a lot of familiar names up there. And if there are any questions about any of those at the end, Gabriel will be available to answer them. But everything is open source pretty much. Now, a very different angle to our project. I've told you about the technology. I've told you about sort of the philosophy behind it, the simplicity of use, how it works. What I want to tell you a little bit about now is, our business, because it's so very different than a traditional web startup, because we have a hardware angle. We have manufacturing. We have logistics. We have sales. We need to make money. Actually, we are making money, which is good. Not many very young web startups that launched a product, a month ago can say that they're making money, but we're actually making money, which is nice. And so another reference that we've taken here is saying, okay, we have a product that fits into social networking. Why was social networking so popular? Why is it so big on the web? Because it's viral. Because one person will tell their friends, and it spreads, right? The traditional funnel, you might do mass advertising. You might tell a lot of people there's a product, and then it trickles down to one person walking into your shop and buying it. So what we're saying is, what we were thinking is saying, okay, well, this is a product that we want to model on the virality of the web, the viral aspects of web and social networking products. So let's try and replicate this in the real world. How do we replicate a viral funnel in the real world? Well, our distribution model is really draws some strong parallels with social networking and the virality of social networking. So what we do is when we sell you Pokens on our website, they come in a pack like this, a 12-pack. So you can buy 12 Pokens at a time at an interesting discount from the price that they're at in the shops. The Pokens are in retail, by the way. They're here in Switzerland, at Manor, Big, in Dolmenech, a lot of other shops, soon more shops as well. So you can buy them here in Switzerland for 25 francs a piece in the shops. Or you can go to our website and buy a 12-pack. Now, 12-pack is more interesting financially. It comes to about 15 francs a piece. So the 12-pack is 180 francs. Now, and what the purpose of the 12-pack is to model this viral aspect, in that you, as the sponsor of the pack, you having bought the pack, when you give those Pokens away or sell them off to your friends, perhaps with a little margin, put in your pocket, you're the sponsor and you'll get points for that. And you'll get points because since every Poken has an ID, we know what goes on with every Poken. And we know that ultimately you're the one that sponsored it. So when people from the Pokens in your pack Poken other people, you get points. They get points as well because they Poken, but you also get points. So you get points when you Poken someone. You get more points when you Poken a Poken from a pack that you've bought, because we want to push you to show your friend how to use a Poken that you're giving to him or selling to him. So if you Poken a Poken from a pack that you've bought, you make more points. Like that, it means that you've actually showed them how it works. You become a promoter. You get points. Well, at a certain level, you get a discount code that you can even email to your friends, so they get discounts off of buying Pokens. If they use your discount code, you get points. You get points for a lot of different things, filling in profile data in your account, and so on. So we're really taking the concept of, I want to have a lot of friends. I want to increase the number of, increase my visibility in a network like social networking does with the number of friends. We're shifting that and saying, well, there's another way to increase your visibility and to be part of something, and that is through the point system, graduated point system, graduating through different levels of a Poken fan, a Poken fanatic, a Poken promoter, and you can get lots of things out of it. Now, it's not all commercial. You can get with the increased levels, you get access to more features and eventually prizes and so on. So it's really modeling that virality that we have and taking it to the real world in a viral distribution way. How can we do that? Actually, there's some real challenges in terms of logistics and even manufacturing to be able to do this kind of thing. Just the fact that we have unique IDs in every device and that we have to be able to track where every device comes from and where it goes. And we've built that all into our system. So we actually have logistics stations in the factory that track when the devices are being put into a pack. And so we know what IDs are in the pack of Pokens that you're buying so that we can then give you points for all the activity that goes on with them. So there's that side of the project that's quite interesting and quite novel. We don't know of anybody else that does it in this way for distribution. Now, from a sort of local distribution perspective, we can have promoters sitting pretty much anywhere in the world that, if they pick up on the system, want to have a higher and more active involvement in distributing tokens locally, we have local logistics stations that can be very, very easily set up, as in this case, for example, in a dorm room. Basically, it's a computer with web access, barcode scanner, and all you need to do when someone buys a pack of tokens, either over the web or directly from you on a university campus, just scan in the barcode and associate it with his account, and he'll be part of the viral distribution system. So it's a very, very easy and simple process. This is a label printer, so you can print a label with the person's name and throw it in the post if they're not someone that you're interacting with physically, but you won't need to send it to them somewhere across the country. So that's what we do currently from Lausanne, for example, for Swiss distribution. So all the web orders coming in are scanned and associated with whoever might have bought them using PayPal and sent directly to the user the same day. So Switzerland, you generally receive your pack of tokens next day or within 2 days. Is Poken successful? I've put this picture here because just to show we're still really in our infancy. The company has been running for over a year, but we just started, really. We started sales 4 weeks ago, but we've managed to generate quite a buzz, and it's been extremely exciting 4 weeks. It's funny because the buzz is coming from places that we didn't originally expect it to come from. So in this case, you see in this map, for example, that the real activity at the moment, just in the past 2 weeks, I'd say, 10 days, is in Holland. Some people have picked up on the viral distribution model and gone absolutely wild with it, and it's fantastic to see that. What we see is people that are basically thinking, hey, I can buy a pack of Pokens and double my money in a few days, and then a few days later they buy 2 packs, and a few days later they buy 4 packs, and now we have those same people 2 weeks ago that bought 1 pack, they're buying 40 packs. And it's really exciting to see that because that's exactly what we were trying to replicate in the real world and take from the web. So what we have here are a few statistics, and okay, they're not huge numbers because again we've been running for not very long, but currently we have web orders between 100 and 2,000 Pokens, and that's growing quite quickly. I mean, that's just really in the past few days we've seen numbers go up really quickly. Fans all over the world, a lot of amateur web shops popping up, people buying Pokens from our site. We only sell them in 12 packs, so a lot of people have set up their own little web shops to sell individual Pokens. And so there are web shops popping up a bit everywhere. 6 of them we noticed in the past 2 to 10 days. Fan videos, spontaneous Pokening meetups that are being set up in different cities. We had no part in creating that. It's really from the fan base that it's coming. And even applications. One of the applications that popped up just a few days ago is for auto-launching the Poken on a Mac. As you might know, on Windows, there's auto-launch. When you put a USB stick, it auto-launches an executable. On the Mac, you don't have the concept of auto-launch. If you plug in a USB stick, the drive appears on your desktop. So someone wrote a Mac application, basically detects if a Poken has been plugged into the computer and automatically launches the file on the website. Another interesting stat here, we actually made it to the top 10 most Twittered words. As you see the list here, Google here, Poken here, Windows in between, unfortunately. So just a few stats from this past week. Now, why is it picking up? Why do we feel that there's an opportunity here? Why do people get excited about this product? Well, if you look at it, we really bring benefits and answer the needs of several of the stakeholders in social networking. First of all, from the user's perspective, we make it simpler to connect people. You don't have to think of asking someone, oh, are you on Twitter? Are you on Skype? Are you on MSN? Can you write down each of your logins here? Can I send you an email asking you what your AIM screen name is, and so on and so forth? You just say, hey, do you Poken? Yes, I Poken. High five, and you're done. Manage contact in a time fashion. That's a really interesting one that a lot of people see benefit of. And finally, yeah, integrating into standard social networking websites. So really building a product that really can be seamless and that doesn't require that you change your old habits. I mean, you just it builds on top of what's existing. From the social networks perspective, as Rupert was bringing up, social networking has gone through a big hype in the past 5 years. It's been something really exciting. People have been extremely active on it, on different sites. People are very active. Well, this is bringing something new. I think it's something that seems to be reviving relationships. And it's not because someone is already your friend on Facebook that you would not Poken them. You can very well, even if they're already your friends on Facebook, it's still Poken them. It's still fun. It's a moment that you're sharing in the real world, and that really brings in an extra little element into the relationship. So that's something that people enjoy. We found that people enjoy this even whether they're on social networks or not. So that's why I put another point here, reach new markets through physical distribution channel. That's for the social networks. What we found is there are some people that are not on social networks that are buying Pokens, and that actually it's sort of a nice introduction to social networking for them. These are people that were afraid of sharing too much data, of the complexity of the interfaces of social networks, of the fact that it runs on a computer and it's complex. This is simple, and they really enjoy that, and they'll go around and they'll Poken people, and they'll have their little business card, their little Poken card that might not have any social networking accounts on it. They might not use social networking at all, but they enjoy the simplicity of Poken. And for off-web activities and events, one of the most successful distribution aspects also of Poken has been through conferences and events and so on, where people meet up in a specific place and want to exchange contact information. So those are all benefits that we're bringing to the consumer. Finally, I wanted to conclude, if my slide comes up here, on just a little observation about the web and about, my title says here, this may just work. Who knows? But Web 1, one of the main problems of Web 1 is authentication, saying how do you make sure that the person you're interacting with on the web is who he says he is. So for banking, that's been solved through hardware. It's been solved through a physical device, and many of us carry around these RSA keys to log into our bank accounts. So there are people that say that, why wouldn't this be done on a cell phone? Why don't you have, why would you carry an extra device around? Well, you're carrying an extra RSA device around because the problem was not solvable on the cell phone. It's solved through this kind of device. And the parallel here is the Web 2 challenge, which is exchange of IDs, so the social web, connecting people. And what we're saying is, well, maybe the way that's going to be solved is also through a similar concept and with a fun little social keychain like Poken. That's my last slide. So thank you very much for your attention. And the floor is open to questions, which Brian, Gabriel, Dave, and myself will be happy to answer. Before the questions, actually, maybe I can just give you all some Pokens so you can have a feel for what they're like. Maybe you can just pass them along, take one each, and I'll handle questions while that's going on. Yeah, we do it now. We do it, we're giving away free Pokens now. That's part of our marketing budget, right? But we have large advertising customers that have bought large numbers of Pokens that we've branded, and that are not only branded physically, but that give access to a branded website, web portal. That's the Poken portal, but branded for that customer. So we do that. So you could run across free Pokens in Switzerland or in other European countries, since we've delivered quite a number to advertisers. Yeah. Yes, that's the traditional fax machine challenge. So the way we decided to tackle this challenge, as with any sort of network product where it has more value when other people around you have one as well, is, well, first of all, through the viral distribution, saying, well, why don't you buy a 12-pack and give 11 to your friends? Like that, well, they have some and you can poke them with them. The other angle that we decided to tackle is by developing a sort of the device as a fashion accessory rather than as a geeky tool. Because it would have been much easier to develop Poken as a cheap-looking, very geeky USB or other little plastic box. But we put in a lot of effort to make it into a fun, funky little critter. And actually, you'll find that a lot of people like having one, not necessarily because they're pokening with a lot of people yet, but simply because it's a conversation piece. And whenever I'm in a bar or in a restaurant or whatnot, I used to keep my keys in my pocket, but I'll just take it out, put it on the table, and you'll see that people sometimes look over and want to come and ask you, hey, what's this thing? It looks quite intriguing. So there's a fashion aspect to it that's enjoyable as well. No, the character is just a cap, but it's the cap that brings sort of the personality out. And you'll notice that different people choose different designs. There are 4 different designs in the ones I give away here, but actually we have many more coming out. We actually have a lot of requests from companies that are interested now in developing just the caps, and not necessarily as different characters, but also for branding purposes. Just saying, well, there's a USB stick. Can we have a branded cap? Sure, why not? Yeah. Well, we've decided to target the real sort of heavy networkers first, which are the kids, the young ones, the 16 to 25-year-olds that are on university campuses that are really networking in closed environments. That's why we started with this device. But it's very easy for us to, of course, with our whole infrastructure, with our technology, to port it to any kind of form factor. There's either that or, most people, let me just go back and tell you actually where the idea originally came from. I went back to studies 2 years ago, did an MBA, and was studying with 90 people for a year. Got very, very close to all of them. And then they were all my friends. And at the end of the year, I realized I had some people connected on this network, some people had my Skype, some people had my SM. I hadn't taken the time to take the list of 90 students and search for every single one of them on all of the communication tools that I use. And that's when I said, well, there's got to be a better way of doing things. There's got to be something simple. And Poken came out of it. So you can just Poken people around you. And, yeah, maybe you're already connected on Facebook, but chances are you're not on Twitter or on MSN. We have, yeah. Yeah. Well, there's all kinds of different angles that that are in our roadmap and that we're considering for the future. From a technology, hardware tech point of view, it's a difficult subject to answer because location technologies tend to be bulky, expensive, and require a lot of battery power. So it's sort of the opposite end of the spectrum from what we view as being the optimal form factor for and usability for this device. But there may be other ways of extracting location information that we are using. In a sense, you can, since two people pokened, wherever they upload their contacts from, that may give you an idea, general idea of where they were when they met. Who knows? They might upload their contacts an hour later. They might upload them 6 days later. If they do it 1 hour later, chances are they weren't very far from the place where they met. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's being addressed. There are a lot of things that, as a startup, as any good startup, we have to throw together really quickly to get it up and running and open our beta. So there's some networks there that, yeah, we ask for your password. That's the only way that we currently have to sync up with your account. So we're on our way to implementing Facebook Connect, for example, which would let you connect on Facebook or rather than on our site. And we have other means as well. But the funny thing, the way I'd like to answer this question is that I've had this comment come up a few times, and it's always from very, very tech community. But you'll find, as our case study shows, that the vast, vast majority of users don't care at all about giving away their passwords because they do it by the hundreds every day on our website. So yes, we're aware. I mean, we don't keep the passwords. We don't store them. We really just use them to connect to your account on that network. They're not kept. But most, everyday people don't care. Mm-hmm. No, I mean we've developed it. It's proprietary protocol in a sense, but we don't know what the future holds for us or for other people. But what I have to say is that, yeah, you're obviously referring to cell phones or other portable devices. A lot of people, get a lot of comments, people saying, I mean, more the tech people than the average user that quite like having a funky, fashionable, simple device to use. But a lot of tech users will say, hey, well, I can build this in a cell phone. And I answer them, well, it is built into your cell phone. Why don't you use it? Like, what? It's not built into my cell phone. Well, it is. There's about 10 apps on iPhone so that you can basically, beam your information to another iPhone. This is functionality that was brought into the Palm 4 10 years ago, beaming the V cards through infrared. And, I mean, nobody uses them. Why? Because you have to install software, because there's interoperability issues. And even on the iPhone, if you might say, let's develop an iPhone app, well, there are some. The iPhone, that people haven't installed them because there's a gazillion apps on the App Store, because you'd have to have installed the same app as all your friends, and so on and so forth. So we've just decided to address the question from another angle, sort of surprising angle, and say, hey, maybe there's another place to look for connecting people. In the account creation process, you're asked which networks you'd like to add to your card. It could be if we had time to add all of them until now, but in the past few weeks we haven't had time to add all of them, but we're currently working on that, and we're about to publish, API. Priority. I think it's as in I guess any sort of deployment of any web app. Which languages do you choose to put first? If your app, is super popular in Russia, do you scramble and add Russian immediately? We're into the same kind of challenge. But I guess we have maybe a little bit better handle on it because there is a physical object part of things, so we know where it's being shipped. So at least between the time that we get rid of the order and ship it, we know that we have a few days before it arrives to the consumer, and maybe in that time we can add his network. But we're also looking at addressing that from the other perspective and building, publishing an API that would enable, a Polish network to add themselves rather than us having to do the work. And that's where that's why I mentioned, some people are developing Poken apps. It's fantastic. That auto launch app on the Mac, we had thought of developing something like that, put it in our roadmap, and then somebody developed it in half a day. It was like, wow, hey, great. So another feature, we thought, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have all the Poken users on a map so you'd know where the people are about Pokens? Within half a day, there was some Dutch developer that put up a website with a map of where all the Poken users are, and even tracked in real time through Twitter. So it was pretty exciting. Yes, there is, and it's on the websites. It's on sort of basic users. It sometimes causes them a little bit of confusion. Why several identities? But who has several identities? Well, we do. But yeah, you can. That's what the switch is for. So when you just when you just poke in someone as is, it'll be your standard profile, or whichever one you've selected is your standard. And then if you double click, you'll cycle through different modes. So the first double click, you'll see there's this little LED, very discrete, inside the body that blinks on the key, but hidden by the body. We call that discrete mode. And what that does actually is you ghost the other person. So in that mode, when you high-five them, you're getting their ID, but you're not giving them yours. So it's sort of that fake phone number thing, except it's better because they still have a chance of getting your contact info, because you can unghost later. You can go look at their profile and then say, okay, I'm going to unghost them. And so, but we have, actually, this is a feature that's coming up. I maybe shouldn't have talked about it, but we have lots of features that are not yet released on the website, on the production site, and that are coming up in the next few weeks. And then you can cycle through 3 other modes. So you can actually put, up to 5 profiles linked with your Poken. And a question that often comes up linked to that is, what if you lose your Poken? Do you lose everything? No, you don't, because it's just an ID. So if you lose it, the first thing I'd do is go onto the website and disable auto login if you had activated auto login. Because if you activated auto login, it means anybody plugging in a Poken will be automatically logged into your account. So you can just select no auto login. And then when you get a new Poken, connect it to your computer, launch the file that's on it, the start Poken, or have it auto launch. And instead of going through the create account procedure, just link that Poken to an existing account. And you can have as many Pokens as you want in your account. When they plug it in, that's what pops up on their screen if you declare it lost. Well, actually, this is a high 4. And there's a very good reason that it's a high 4, is because this is a social network. Its name is high 5. No, we decided to go with 4 to avoid any confusion. But actually, the act is called pokening. And pokening is a verb. It's in the Urban Dictionary, you'll notice online. And it's going to make it into more standard dictionaries very soon. So I poken, you poken, let's poken, do you poken. Or, hey, that's really Poken, meaning that's super cool, right? As you wish. Yeah. It's intransitive, just as long as there's those 5 letters in there. Poken. Yep. I pokened you way back, and I'll poken you again. Yep. Pokening. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Or, we're always happy to get feedback, even if you just want to yell out, this absolutely sucks. I don't believe in it. Just do, because it opens up a discussion, and great things might come out of it. Wow, nobody thinks it sucks. That's encouraging. Thank you very much. Have a great day. All right.